AI. We as artists all know and dread its existence by now. More specifically as Pokemon fans and artists, we have seen its impact AI has had on the community, in more ways than just with Professor Sada and Turo. With AI programs specifically designed to make Fakemon, or the fact that AI art has infiltrated a Pokemon trading card art competition, and ended up making a few places in the top 300 entries. As much as these AI-generated images seem worrying to us, fret not, because Fakemon and Pokemon will never be replaced by AI-generated images. Furthermore, this logic can be applied to many other media, franchises, and forms of art. As much as AI-generated images get clowned upon by artists, you have to admit, they look pretty convincing a lot of the time, scarily even. However, it gets much deeper. Human-made art has many layers behind it that AI lacks. The process of designing a Pokemon starts with a pitch or an idea, from anyone around the Pokemon design studio, which then the graphic designers and artists design and develop these ideas into rough sketches and designs for the Pokemon. Along with the rough sketch, the designers start to consider aspects of the Pokemon, such as what type is it, if it evolves or not, does it fit with the general real-world geography of the region, and many more questions. Then, the people at the Pokemon Design Company, who focus on aspects like story design and battle mechanics, have a say in the design. Then there's considerations like what this Pokemon eats or how this Pokemon behaves are brought up. And one of the most important questions mentioned by current Pokemon art director James Turner is, does it look like you could be friends with this Pokemon? Next, the rough sketches of these Pokemon are reviewed and revised by other graphic designers and artists in the studio to make sure it looks up to snuff. Another significant thing to note is the fact that many Pokemon artists and designers have certain motifs that are often unique to their Pokemon designs, such as a Pokemon designer liking to draw superheroes, or liking to draw things cute. At the final stage of the process, every single Pokemon ever designed ends up being drawn by Ken Sugimori. The design process for each and every single Pokemon is a unique and delicate process, taking weeks to months. On the other hand, AI programs generate images by using an algorithm and a large gallery of intellectual property in the form of various images, writings, photos, and artwork. The algorithm then identifies certain patterns and styles based on the prompt given to it, which it then generates from using the vast amounts of intellectual property at its discretion. Obviously, you can tell which process requires much more dedication and delicate work, especially with the fact that AI is only interested if it looks like it's in the pattern or style of a Pokemon, rather than graphic designers and artists at the Pokemon Company who are concerned with the marketability of the Pokemon, how this Pokemon can be developed into plushies and toys, does this Pokemon make sense in the region it's introduced in, and much, much more. I think the biggest factor which comes into play on why human art design beats AI-generated images is the fact that humans don't hallucinate. Well, maybe sometimes we do, but not in the way that AI does. Although AI can recognize patterns, it doesn't go deeper than that. The fact that it's common for humans to have 5 fingers isn't deeply ingrained into the mind of an AI. The AI only knows it's common to have 5 fingers from reference data. We can see how AI often fumbles with this task, with how many AI-generated images have a 6th finger or a finger in a weird pose. Even though some AI can generate Pokemon pretty well and make it look pretty authentic to the Sugimori style, it's going to fall flat when the AI has to remember how the eyes look, the nose looks, colors, limbs, and even buttholes of that Pokemon. Humans are the only one that can make artwork consistent. From an economics point of view, AI doesn't seem to be a very viable option in many situations, especially in regards to marketing and graphic design. Consumers are starting to hold companies accountable for using AI, especially when it comes to advertisements using AI. Especially when a company went from having one of the coolest and best ad campaigns ever to using AI-generated slop for advertising. Within the Pokemon discourse community especially, there ended up being an insane amount of backlash all over Twitter after some AI-generated images had snuck into the top 300 entries of a Pokemon trading card game art competition. Afterwards, the Pokemon Company then publicly announced an apology and disqualified the contestant who entered in AI-generated images. As discussed previously, AI is very good at recognizing patterns, which it uses to generate images. This can easily be done to create a specific targeted advertisements or videos to users on the internet, on apps like YouTube. But the AI can only generate images or ideas or any other content you can think of, only from things that have been previously made by the hard work of humans. We forget that up until extremely recently, every story ever told, every drawing ever drawn, every game ever developed, and almost anything you can name was made by the hard work of humans. Even the content that AI makes is still completely dependent on what information the humans gave to it. At the end of the day, humans are the ones who set the trends and make the world go round. Authenticity. It's something consumers like in a capitalistic economy. That's why people spend buttloads of cash on a Gucci belt when they can buy a cheaper knockoff version of it on AliExpress instead. AI is basically the cheaper knockoff version of human art. It's cheaply mass-produced, and it lacks the authenticity and emotion of human-made art. There's just way more value in actually purchasing art and supporting your favorite artists, rather than just buying a cheap AI knockoff of their art. For legal reasons, AI might not be doing so well. Major companies like Sony, Universal, and Warner aren't too happy with AI startups stealing their intellectual property, which has led to these major companies suing these AI startups. Based on how much Nintendo likes to sue people and copyright videos, I'm sure they'd like to get on the fun. With the way AI works, if there's less data and information for the algorithm to use, the images the AI generates won't be as accurate, thus giving the upper hand back to the artists and the economy. Art is a human thing, or for animals as well, in the case of those pufferfish that build those underwater sand mandalas. Always has been, always will. Art has been a way for humans to express our emotions, thoughts, traumas, and almost anything under the sun. Art is a way for us to communicate and build community, which is something artificial intelligence lacks. An AI won't be able to compete with humans because of the lack of community. Pokemon is a community. We get excited when new Pokemon are released. We spend our hard-earned cash to buy games and plushies. We compete in online battles with them. We watch the anime. We even draw our own fan-made Pokemon and regions. There's much more I can say, but you get the point. This community only works because humans work at the Pokemon Company, and the people who enjoy it are also humans. We have so many strong emotions attached to these games and the franchise as a whole, which an AI would never feel. Even though it's the highest grossing media franchise of all time, at the end of the day, it's still a bunch of people working as a group, designing something they love. No matter how good AI-generated images can get, the Pokemon Company will still be creating Pokemon using human artists, and fans will still be creating and commissioning Fakemon without the use of AI. Yeah, there's still going to be AI-generated images. That's something we're going to have to accept, but that should never stop any artist from making and enjoying their own content. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really happy as this is the first time doing a video essay and longer form content.